Welcome back to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Cathrine. It's Cathrine.
My bestie.
Yes.
She doesn't have a last name. She does, but we don't say it.
I'm like Madonna or Prince.
Or Cher. Or Snoopy.
Or Snoopy.
Yeah.
You calling me a dog?
Maybe. Our episode, this is episode number, what did we say? Is it number 14? Yes, it is episode 14.
Ooh.
And the title of this episode is The Attitude of Gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
I love the title, love the topic. We've got 3 takeaways for listeners today, Cathrine.
What
and
are they?
We have listed them as number 1, how to go from depression to gratitude.
Oh, that's a good one.
Who doesn't want that? Number 2, the science behind gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
There is a science,
There is.
believe it or not, and we do care about that. And number 3, how to cultivate gratitude in your own life no matter what.
It can be done.
Yes, so
'Cause we
stay
did it.
tuned. That is for sure.
Yeah.
And we're the proof is in the pudding.
That's right. We went through some rough stuff.
Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to share that with you. So stay tuned all the way to the close of the episode, where if you're a regular listener, you know that we're going to leave you with some spiritual encouragement. And this episode is brought to you by our sponsors, Muffin and Pooh,
I'm just smiling just thinking of that.
also known as our husbands.
Yes.
Yeah.
They make money.
They make some money, which is more than we can say for ourselves during this pandemic. However, they share it with us so that we can do this podcast. So, a podcast is free for listeners to listen to, but it is not free to produce. There are some costs involved, and so they cover that. Mm-hmm. So thank you to our husbands who allow us to bring this information to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's dive right into the attitude of gratitude and start out with how to go from depression to gratitude. And what we're going to share with you is our story of how Cathrine and I started 10 years ago now.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I know.
I can't believe that.
I know. But 10 years ago, we were both in a season of life that was challenging. I personally will say I was definitely depressed. And we were next door neighbors, and we were walking and talking and doing that girlfriend thing. Mm-hmm. And some way, somehow, we started texting each other every single night. Mm-hmm. Top 10 things we're grateful for. Similar to David Letterman. I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure that our listeners are
old enough
to remember. Yes. I didn't want to say it, but yeah. I'm sure they're old enough to recall the top 10 list from the David Letterman show.
Yeah.
And it was just 10 goofy things. Well, we were in this dark place of just life. Mm-hmm. And everybody has life that happens. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of why we called this podcast Life Happens, Laugh Anyway. Because everybody experiences some challenges in life. And that's where we were. Our family personally was going through just family life stuff with kids and financial pressure. And I don't know, it was just hitting me. And so I was really down in the dumps.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. I know I was definitely struggling with just different things. Mm-hmm. And it was so cool that, we just talked about, that's something to be grateful for. And then it blossomed into this grateful list when we were discussing, just kind of offhandedly something I was grateful for that particular day.
Yeah. And we had no idea 10 years ago. It was 10 years ago in April that we started. We had no idea then that we would still be doing it in 2021. Which is now.
In fact, I can recall saying to you one day, if you get tired of it, we don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I vaguely remember that. I don't know at what point like right now, if somebody were to ask me right now, would you stop doing it? I would say no, because it's that life-changing. Mm-hmm. I mean, and there are definitely some days, especially when Cathrine and I are traveling together, we don't text each other on those days as much.
Right.
So there's that. And then there are some days that are just like overwhelming or too busy or whatever. And then we might do it the next day. So there's
in the morning.
There's some flexibility there. It's not like a rigid rote exercise. But I would say, by and large, it has changed my life. It really has.
Yeah, mine too. And now I am seeing, when I did some research for this podcast, that there's scientific study to back up that it actually is beneficial to us, our health, not only mental health, but physical health and social health.
I think one of the things that it's helped both of us with, I'll speak for myself because I know it's helped me, and then maybe you can speak to it if it's helped you. In life, there are many things that we just take for granted. We just take things for granted. I mean, that's just part of our human experience. Doing a grateful list every single day for 10 years, 10 things that I'm grateful for, it has helped me to be grateful for my life and the things that I might have a temptation to take for granted.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even I have now a habit of thinking of things I wouldn't normally, like you're saying, think of, not necessarily that I take it for granted, but something as small as like snug socks.
Little things, little conveniences in life.
In fact, I remember one time in the beginning, I had said to you, I must have been having a bad day. And I said, I can't think of anything that I'm grateful for. And you said, do you have uncomfortable socks?
Oh.
And I was like, yes, I do.
Ding.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
Yeah. And so I think that's what's really neat, is that anything from something like a warm robe to, family, to the major things in life, it makes such a difference to cultivate this attitude of gratitude.
Do you know, I don't recall if I've ever shared this with you, so this could be a new revelation. She gets nervous whenever I say something I haven't told her. But prior to meeting you, prior to moving in next door, you know that my husband lived with his parents, and our 5 sons and I went and moved in with my dad.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those situations where we had sold the house and had to be out before the new house was ready. And we just had to make those sacrifices. So my dad lived in a small, small house. And here comes Tracy with her 5 boys.
Oh, man.
All of them under the age of 11. One of them a brand new baby.
Yeah.
And my dad had been widowed for, I forget now how many years at that point. My mother passed away in 1993, and this was 2001. So he had been a widower for a number of years. I can't do the math in my head. Sorry. People are like, she can't add. No, I can't.
You have many other talents.
Thank you.
Far outweigh
math.
Stupid math.
Well,
I can't do math either.
Okay, good. I didn't plan on sharing this story, but it just came to my head in terms of gratitude. My husband lived with his dad and his stepmom because they were closer in proximity to the building project, because we were building our house next to you. And when the 5 boys and I went and moved in with my dad, and I think his house is maybe 1,000 square feet or something like that, super uber tiny. And this poor guy, he opened his home to us, but he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know. He had not lived with babies for a while, right? Let alone 5 boys. And I told the boys, you can only bring 1 backpack. That's all we have room for. And we'll just wash clothes more frequently. You can have 1 backpack and your bike. That's it. It was really stripped down. Our possessions were stripped down. And I moved to a town where I didn't know anybody. I just knew my dad. I mean,
oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know anybody.
I knew that.
Oh, yeah, there was nobody to know. I didn't know anybody.
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
And so I was away from my husband. I was away from my church family. I was away from neighbors and friends. I was isolated.
Oh.
I mean, my dad was definitely a comfort, because he was opening his home to us. But the stress that we brought to him, he didn't know how bad it was going to get. There was one night when he just was like over the moon, frustrated, because it was my son Joel had dropped a whole gallon of milk, into the carpet. The milk bust into the carpet.
Oh.
And there's my father, and he's like ready to explode, but he didn't because he kept a lid on it for the grandkids, And then he was like, I'm going to go sleep in the garage. And he did.
Way to go, Butch, for keeping it under control.
No, I know. I miss him. Yeah. My dad passed away in 2019. But so anyway, what I'm getting at is I remember in those, like in that whole season of time, I packed away my makeup. I did not wear any makeup.
Oh, I think I recall you saying that.
Yeah. I packed it away. I didn't do anything to my hair. I mean, it was like I had given up completely. It was sheer survival mode. And I bought myself some new pajamas. And I remember at the end of the day, I would be completely overwhelmed because having 5 kids anyway, from 11 to new, is an overwhelming experience. But to be doing it on your own in a new town where you're isolated and you know no one, right?
You didn't have me.
I know I didn't have you. Well, I started writing like a journal, and I was writing things that I was grateful for.
Did you?
Yes. And my pajamas was one of them.
Oh my gosh, you never told me that.
Well, see, now I told you right here live on the Life Happens Life Anyway podcast.
All right.
I think the point is sometimes when you're stripped down a little bit in life and you're kind of down, you really can still look up. You can still look up and say, God, what do I have? I have my life. I have my 5 children. Yeah, they're driving me nuts right now, but at least they're here.
Yeah.
I have my dad who's doing the best he can with the circumstances at hand. He's trying to be patient with 5 boys.
Hey, that's a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Somebody that is trying to show patience.
Yeah, and just navigate, just trying to put one foot in front of the other in life. Yeah. So that was a long little offshoot. Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry about that. So Catherine and I started our grateful list. We call it our 10. We started it now 10 years ago. It's the 10-year anniversary of our 10. And we also added 3 phrases at the end.
Yeah, we did.
3 statements. I don't know why I don't know how this all came about, but the first statement is an I know.
Yep.
I think it was because of Oprah. I'm pretty sure Oprah was doing these things I know. Like, these are the things I can count on. That's how I interpret it. Like, there's something I know for sure. Here's something I know.
I thought it was from Alex Levatori. Alex, the life coach.
It could be.
Yeah, that he was saying think of things that you believe, because we started out with I believe. Yeah. And then it transformed to I know. Yeah. I know.
Something you know for sure. Yeah. So there's an I know statement at the end of the 10, and then a I can. Because there's a lot of things that we can't. There just are. There are a lot of circumstances that we cannot control. But there are things that we can. And so we do an I know, an I can. And then the third thing is I'm excited about. Most of the time for me is I'm excited about sleeping. Because I write my 10 typically at the end of the day. Yeah. And I'm like, I know, whatever. I can, whatever. And I'm excited about sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah. So that's our grateful list. And we're just going to keep doing it. Because it keeps changing our lives.
It does. I love that it has become a habit, because throughout the day, I might have something that just really stunk. And one of the first things I think about is, well, what could I be grateful for in this situation? And so it's just a habit. And as I'm going to say later, and as we move along here, that there's scientific benefits to the brain.
Well, let's move into that segment, Catherine, and stay tuned, listeners. Don't give up on us. We're going to come to the very end. We're going to give you some encouragement to, write your own grateful list. So hang in there with us. But let's move to the benefits of gratitude and the science behind gratitude. Share with our listeners what you learned, Kat.
Okay, so I got all of this information. I was going to try several different sites, but I didn't need to. This one was from, I'm going to have to put it at the end because I don't
well, we'll put any of the references in the show notes.
Yeah, but it was a psychology website. Okay. So the benefits are so far, and I had to edit this as much as I could, but it's still a lot. So there are psychological benefits to cultivating gratitude and just being in the habit of that, it's a happier you. And it gives positive emotions and thoughts when you're forming those habits. More aware and awake. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
Right? Increased self-satisfaction, enhanced mood. And then under physical benefits, it's a fitter you. You're more fit. Stronger immune system.
Wow.
This
we
is
need
all
that for COVID. Get rid of, right? You want as strong of an immune system as you can possibly get.
Right. You have less body pains and aches. Can you believe it? You probably would have more, Tracy.
I have no pain tolerance. 0.
This is true about her. But imagine if you didn't have an attitude of gratitude, you would be in more pain.
No, you would be, because I would be complaining about the pain.
I would have a headache every day. Okay. Optimum blood pressure and cardiac functioning. That's affected by it. Better sleep-wake cycles. Isn't that great? Mm-hmm. And then social benefits, a better you. So better communication, better empathy, stronger interpersonal relationships, more likability among group members, and more involvement as a team member.
That so makes sense, because all of our listeners and all, just everybody in general, think about a sourpuss among you. Right? Doesn't everybody know a sourpuss?
Such a funny word.
It is a funny word. But
words.
It's basically somebody who looks like they've been sucking lemons all day. They're always yeah, like that. She's making a face.
With a crease in my forehead.
They're always down in the dumps. They're always negative. They're always complaining about everything. They're big time Karens. We have an episode about being Karens. Sorry for Karens who are not actually Karens, but whatever. So think about those people, and now think about people who are not like that.
Exactly. And I also read, I don't have this written down, but also in this same study list of things, it also said that somebody who is constantly negative, their brain is actually trained to be negative and they can't get out of it. It's like being on a hamster wheel. Yeah, it's...
well, don't they say something about pathways? Like your brain creates these pathways.
Yes.
And you can change them, but if you don't intentionally change them, doesn't it just default to, it's almost like the Oregon Trail and your wagon wheel is in there and you're stuck?
Yeah, there are neurochemical differences in the central nervous system in your brain. And expressing gratitude, it invokes more of a natural thanksgiving, believe it or not. Isn't that neat?
It is.
So some more benefits, too, that I wanted to list on here is studies indicated partners who expressed their thankfulness to each other often, when they do it often, they can sustain their relationships with mutual trust, loyalty, and have long-lasting, happy relationships. And like I said, that was a study that proved that that can improve that,
Well, and I think that the two of us could testify that, because we've both been married, Muffin and Pooh, for multiple decades. And I know that I've expressed my gratitude. I mean, we're not perfect people. We don't have a perfect marriage. We don't have a perfect family. But I have oftentimes, in fact, even yesterday, expressed my gratitude to my husband for just his loyalty, and he's always there, and all the things that I love about him.
Yeah, I try to be mindful when I text you the things I'm grateful for. When I list things about Kenny, then I make sure I try to tell him too, because I don't want to just tell you.
Right, I'm like, you made the grateful list. Keep doing these things.
Right.
You don't want to not make the grateful list, Muffin.
Yeah, you think it motivates him?
I don't know. Have you done anything today that I'm grateful for?
I'm pretty sure it motivates Kenny, baby. I'm just assuming.
Well, I think that it's nice to be appreciated. Who wouldn't like to be appreciated and noticed?
For sure.
That's human nature. You want to be noticed.
Yeah, that was in the sermon yesterday, too.
It was. Zacchaeus.
Yeah. He noticed.
Right.
So also, it's correlated, the gratitude is correlated to more vitality energy, and enthusiasm to work harder. Grateful workers are more efficient, productive, and responsible. And funny, so today when I was at the dentist, I was talking with the gal, the hygienist. Believe it or not, while she's doing her work.
You're talking.
And I wonder, actually, side note, how much longer appointments take because the hygienist or the dentist wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
And so they stop working, actually,
Well,
while
right.
they're talking because you're answering. Anyway, and I was telling her about the podcast and about gratitude. And she said by the time the dentist came in, Pete March, he came in. And he said, we have a grateful list down by our their personal area, almost by a break room, a big one. And all the employees, they write what they're grateful for. They let me go look at it and take a picture. And I asked him, I said, what inspired you to do that? What made you do that? And he said, I just feel that it helps the environment, the work environment, and so forth. And I said, I've just been doing research on that, and it's a proven fact. Like I just said on here, for enthusiasm at work, responsibility.
That's a wonderful tip for all of our listeners. Start a thankful board at your home and in your workplace.
Yes.
It could just be a whiteboard or a chalkboard.
Remember when Jan had one?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was so neat.
Yeah.
Just thought of that.
That's such an easy thing to do. All you have to do is buy the board, put it up.
Yep.
I am thankful for ...
Yes.
And let your tribe fill it in. And if they put weird things on there, just be grateful that they're putting anything.
Yeah. Right. So shout out to Dr. March, Pete March, in Piatone, and shout out to Jan Saby for at Evelina's Red Dresser for having these gratitude things that help with morale.
Right, in your business, because you need that.
Right. So some interesting things with gratitude in the brain. So as I mentioned before, there's those neurochemical things in your central nervous system, and there's a lot of science there, which nobody wants to be bored with yawn with that.
Right.
But so gratitude in the brain, it fosters cognitive reconstructing by evoking positive thinking. It enhances the dopamine.
Like the dope.
Yes, dopamine and serotonin. And the neurotransmitters are responsible for your happiness, and it reduces fear and anxiety by regulating stress hormones. So all those things that are released in the brain, basically, it helps with happiness even.
See, and that's all from God. He made the brain.
That's right. It is exactly
It is the truth.
So some more benefits. When you're filled with gratitude, it releases toxic emotions. Reduces pain, like I said earlier. These are proven things, again, by science and studies.
Hold on. Toxic emotions. Like, just give me some examples. What would you consider a toxic emotion that could be released?
Hostility.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
anger. Bitterness. Resentment.
Jeez, let it out, Kat. Whoopsies. Didn't mean to open that Pandora's box.
Well,
Keep going. Keep going.
Well, you get the idea.
Yeah. Well, and that's life. Everybody has to deal with toxic emotions because we're human.
Yeah.
And, if you cut me, I'm going to bleed.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
And emotionally, if you are bitter or if I hurt for some reason, justified or not, I'm going to emotionally have a response that I have to deal with. And so what you're saying is that scientifically it's proven that if you are intentionally looking for what you can be grateful for, it's going to counter these negative emotions, these toxic emotions.
That's right.
Praise the Lord.
Yes. It also helps with patience. Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Gosh, that would have been helpful about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I was raising my big family.
Yeah. You did good.
You
are very patient.
You think?
I know. You are.
You think if you asked my kids that, they would say that?
I think so. They're mature enough to say that.
They might.
Or to recognize that.
Maybe now. Probably at the time, no. But yeah, okay. I'm patient. All right, go ahead.
Also, gratitude improves sleep quality. It aids in stress regulation, and it reduces anxiety and depression, which we talked about earlier.
Right. Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, and then also, I'm going to hear the paper rattling. So gratitude can change your brain. I think that...
Change the pathways? Is this what we're going with that?
Let me see. Well, yes, actually.
Okay.
So it changes their neural structures, making us feel happier, which I mentioned that earlier, and more content. And our brains are conditioned to function in a repeated way. So if you're constantly negative and repetitively, then it's just your brain is actually used to that, like I said earlier, as well. Also, it's very interesting, too, this was in the study, that our mind cannot focus on positive and negative things at the same time.
Wow. How about that?
Yeah.
I use that one in my shows with laughter, that, when my audience is laughing, which is often, by the way, just saying, in case you're wondering, when they're laughing, it's impossible for them to think about their problems.
Yeah.
You cannot ponder, what are my problems, when your brain is in a state of spontaneous combustion, also known as laughter.
So cool.
It is. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Thank you, God. He made us that way. Nothing else does that.
Yeah.
Those dogs, they're not laughing.
No.
They're just thirsty. That's it.
Even hyenas. They're not really laughing.
No, they're about to bite you. That's not a laugh. I'm going to eat you. They eat stuff. They're not plant eaters. Eat stuff.
Yeah.
If it's fleshy.
Yeah. Should not have done that.
Where we used to live out in the country, when we were first next door neighbors, we lived there for almost 20 years. Catherine was there longer. We would hear the coyotes. Oh, man.
They sound just like hyenas. Not that I've been up and close to a hyena.
And when they're eating, like when they're feasting on something, it's kind of like me when I'm binging on, late night binge.
Yeah.
Tracy's in the kitchen.
No, I always thought that sound they make is when they're fighting over something.
Food. It's when they're eating. It's when they're eating, because they're nocturnal. So so they hunt at night, and when they're pack animals. Yeah. And when they find something, and they start to eat it, they do all that.
Oh. Well, I know. I always picture it as one or two of them are eating something, and the rest are mad because there's only one squirrel till about a pack of 10 coyotes.
Well, it could be. I haven't analyzed the coyote dynamic of the breakdown of the pack, but maybe we could do an episode on that. Coyote packs. No, let's not. All right, sorry, another diversion. What else you got there?
Well, we talked about depression in the beginning, right?
We did.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
Was that? Okay.
We talked about how I was depressed and gratitude helped. Also, AKA medicine helps also.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Get some drugs.
Yeah, definitely. If you need, we've talked about that before. Need more help than just this. This is just another aid.
Right.
I mean, this is just something, to help.
Right. But side note, don't be misled. Depression is a real diagnosable illness. It is a mental illness. It's in your mind. There's nothing to be ashamed of about that. And there's real help for that in terms of doctor type support and a prescription. So get on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Get down on it. Getting goofy now.
But back to that though, with the depression, gratitude asks us to accept that we are sad and focus on how to reduce it. We don't expect miracles when we write a gratitude journal. So this is back to about writing a journal in a journal. We just get a closer view of the right things that still exist in life. And isn't that exactly what we were doing, right?
Right. Perspective.
Exactly.
Another side note, sorry, I'm taking us on all kinds of tangents, but
it's okay.
whatever.
I can adjust.
Okay, good.
Like shifting gears.
You know that my mom sadly passed away when she was young. She was 51 when she passed, and she was 47 when she was diagnosed with cancer. And I used to take her, my sister and I used to take turns taking her to the Mayo Clinic from our home in Illinois. We would take turns running her out to the Mayo Clinic for her treatment. When we would go there, my mom would come back with this like a sense of gratitude because we always saw people that were way worse. And oftentimes it was children. Yeah.
Gosh,
and my mom used to say that. She used to say things like, at least I got to raise my kids. And she would start to think about the things that she had gratitude for. And I would just remember that, that she would be like, it could always be worse. And even though her situation was pretty darn bad, it was not good at all. She had a terminal illness from the gate. There was no curing it.
I think it's so cool that she modeled that for you, and that you have told me that quite a few times, you know, and that I think it's so awesome that you have that memory. I'm also thinking about how she was real sick and she was playing cards with you, and you've shared that many times too, that she was cheating when you guys were playing cards, and just
it's making me laugh.
Yeah,
that was my last experience with my mom. She died like a few days after that. She was alive but not conscious, you know. So that was a pretty neat lesson, just to to look at life through the lens of what you can do, not what you can't do.
Right.
My mother she couldn't stand up, she couldn't walk. She had bone cancer, so she had actually like deteriorated bones that were wrapped, like they had them wrapped in splints and stuff, and it's a rough disease.
Yeah.
But the last thing we did was play cards because she said, I can move my hands.
Yeah.
At least I can move my hands. And I was like,
there you go.
Yeah.
That's an attitude of gratitude.
Right. Instead of looking at what you can't do.
And you have this wonderful memory.
Yeah.
You had that moment, and you have been sharing that for a long time.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. Well, thanks. Shout out to Joan.
Yeah.
To my mama.
Aw. Yeah, but back to, the benefits of the grateful list.
Yes.
So 16 times in this report, it mentioned the benefits of journaling or expressing a gratitude in some kind of written form, whether it's SMS, through texting. I was like all lit up when I read that because that's what we do.
Right.
And so, like I said, 16 times it was mentioned that there are benefits, and I'll just name a couple here.
Okay.
So the benefits of actually writing it down, with let's say it's a journal. Again, reduced pain symptoms when you actually have it in the written form. You're face to face with your blessings,
right?
And there's something significant scientifically with that.
It's also nice to look back at them.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. after you're through the season of grief or the season of challenge or pain or whatever it is, it's nice to look back and go, look, I survived that.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. A study that was conducted on individuals seeking mental health guidance revealed that participants who wrote letters of gratitude, besides their regular counseling sessions, they felt better and recovered sooner
than participants who didn't show their gratitude.
Exactly.
I believe that.
Yeah. Let's see. They use it in life coaching regimes. That's a practice that they do regularly. People who keep a journal are more empathetic and positive-minded by nature. It also suggested to find a gratitude buddy. Can you believe that?
Wow, we're like following along with the science.
I said. That one's
great.
Yeah,
we could have been famous. We could have put this out there.
Well, we are now.
Okay.
Anyway, find a gratitude buddy and share your thoughts of gratefulness. Or sharing your thoughts of gratefulness with someone is a great way to sustain motivation and strengthen your emotional skills.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. And gratitude notes, if you just do it in notes, they show fewer symptoms of death anxiety. So that means like they're fearless of the future.
Wow.
Yeah, because they are writing it down. Like I said, this was listed so many times, the importance of writing it down.
Yeah, not just saying, oh, yeah, I have a feeling of gratitude, actually going to a journal or a note on your computer or in your phone. Put
it in a jar, little notes in a jar. There's so many ways that you can count your blessings. And it's wonderful, isn't it?
It sure is, for sure.
Yeah. So, also, another thing I wanted to mention that, let me see if I have it on here. It was people who are grateful to God. I got to find it here, though, in my notes. Oh, here it is. Studies indicated that people who feel more grateful to God are healthier and they have stress resilience in life. So, I mean,
well, when you think about gratitude, right? When you think about gratitude in general, like I can be grateful for something that you say or do, right? Some behavior or some blessing or whatever. But ultimately, all gratitude, in my opinion, goes to the Lord because everything goes back to him. He's the creator of everything. Without him, we have nothing to be grateful for.
Right.
So all gratitude goes direct heavenward.
Exactly.
So that makes sense.
Right. Yep.
So I guess, here's another thing, I guess, for our listeners to ponder and to contemplate, and that is where is your faith? Where is your faith and your belief in God? And if it's non-existent, then it's time to seek God and ask him to give you faith. Because our faith does not come from ourselves. It comes from God. So if we're just not on that path, we can get on that path. And we don't have to manufacture it, because that's not faith. It's ourself. Faith comes from God. So if you're struggling in faith, if you're struggling with doubts, and I struggle with doubts, and I've been a believer in Jesus and in God for over 35 years.
Yeah, you have.
But I still have struggles. So I just encourage everybody and anybody, if you're finding it difficult to be grateful in a season of difficulty, a season of, challenges, ask the Lord to meet you where you are and pull you along in your faith.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that.
You're welcome. I just she
just did the hero kind of Hercules kind of thing. Yeah.
Go, God.
Yeah. This study indicated that people who were grateful to God for their lives scored high, and they scored a high stress tolerance index than others who weren't grateful to God for their lives in this study.
Wait a minute. High, so they had more.
So they scored a high stress tolerance index than others.
So they can just cope better, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want that?
Right. So I want to share with you. I have to bring it up, so you'll have to do some talking. I have here in my hand my very first smartphone when you and I first started writing our grateful list. Yeah.
Is this what you found and then lost, and then did you find it again?
Well, I was digging for the very beginning. And I was almost there. You know how you have to keep hitting,
refresh
earlier
or whatever.
texts.
Right.
Well, I kept hitting it, and I was like, shoot, I was almost there. But so I'm going to read. Want me to share?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So this goes back some years.
This goes back to 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not the very beginning.
Right, but close.
But it's close.
All right.
And so I'm going to read you.
This is my grateful list?
This is your grateful list.
Am I going to cry, maybe? All right, well, just read it.
It's likely.
All right.
Yeah. Give me a second.
She's ambushing me. She did not prepare me.
Okay, so you start out with this one. This is before we were using emojis to kind of bullet point.
Right.
You have, here's my 10. I am thankful for each one of my sons and the joy they bring into this world. Nate is smart and kind. Luke is loving and trustworthy. Joel is loyal and honest. Adam is tender-hearted and hilarious. Caleb is full of expressions that crack us up and a gentle soul. Ron and I are loving parents who get it right most of the time. We are committed to Jesus and to each other. Love that we live right here in this house and in this neighborhood. Okay. Car is awesome and reliable. LOLing about my dad and his sayings.
Aw.
I know.
Butchisms.
Yeah. And you have also So I'm also going to take just a couple from some other ones because I could not have them.
That's okay.
Okay. You have hilarious when you screamed after seeing me in your car because you scared me.
Oh, I loved doing that.
Yeah. Laughs till my sides hurt. So glad I didn't pee myself.
Oh my gosh. So I have to tell our friends, Catherine and I have been going places together forever. Mm-hmm. And if she's not quite ready, I would just go over to her house next door and hide somewhere to scare her because she's easily startled. And I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
So I hid in her SUV.
Yep.
And she got in the car.
Yep. Just totally innocent and just screamed.
Aw.
Yeah.
Sorry. Not sorry. Go ahead.
So then I know I can, and I'm excited. I know I have a choice in the way I approach each day. I'm excited to turn 47, and it's my new favorite number no matter what you say.
And now I'm 55, so that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool. Yeah. I just want to read one more of your I knows because it just really encompasses who you are and how you think. I know there are so many blessings for me to be thankful for. I can focus on those things. I'm excited to sleep now.
Yeah. Done. Night-night.
Yeah. Isn't that so cool?
It is. It did make me tear up.
Yeah.
Because,
I know, I'm sorry. I looked over at her. I was like, oh, no.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's the way life is. I mean, because in those days, my day would seem like it was very long. Yeah. Like dealing with family life and bunches of kids. And my heart goes out right now to moms who are not only working from home, they're homeschooling.
Oh, my goodness.
They're doing whatever that is with the Zoomy thing with the teachers and all that. So there's a lot of pressures on moms in particular. And so it is a beautiful gift because even though those days are long, that was almost 10 years ago. And you can look back and you go, wow, it was not that long ago. Right?
Yeah.
But now my those little boys are grown, thank God. Most of them moved out, thank God again. And I miss them. I do. I miss them.
I know. Yeah, I know.
And then,
I thought that was so cool though that I pulled up. We've got your boys, we've got your dad, we've got Ron.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Very cool. See, this is why you should do this, friends. Is get yourself going with some kind of a gratitude situation. Be intentional about it because it will change your life. And you only have one life. And one life to live. These are the days of our lives.
As the world turns.
Could tell we're from the 80s. Yeah. All right. So have we wrapped up the benefits of gratitude?
We have. Yeah.
All right. So let's transition into how can our listeners cultivate this attitude of gratitude in their own life? What are some practical things that they can do to cultivate it?
Exactly. So again, writing it down. Writing it down. If you're not able to write it down at the moment, then just try to be mindful of it. I mean, I would imagine most people have a smartphone, so you can enter it into your notes, and then toward the end of the day, just look at it. Another, the suggestion on here was find a buddy. I don't understand the science. I didn't write it all down, but if you can find a buddy to share, things you're grateful for, do that.
I would say because we've been doing this for a decade now, I really look forward to reading yours every day.
I look forward to yours.
So there's one part of the blessing is writing it myself and sending it. So there's that. And it only takes a few minutes. Once you really strengthen this gratitude muscle, it just starts to pop off.
It's true.
It is. Because in the beginning, you'd be like, 10, I got to come up with 10. What am I going to be grateful for? But once you do it and you just commit to it, I also get a blessing out of reading yours.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's why they suggested it.
Yeah. Okay, so those are a couple things. Write it down either in a journal, like with an actual pen, which if you're old enough to know what a pen and paper is. But if you're, if it's more convenient and you're going to get it done by texting, which is what we do, we put it into our phone through a text, but you could also just put it in the notes.
Right. Also, journaling is very important, which is kind of along the same lines, but if you feel like we just kind of do a little bit of bullet points.
Right.
Sometimes we add lengthy stuff, added to it. But if you are writing in a journal and you're writing out your thoughts and you're putting everything from, like I said earlier, your snug socks to the major things, don't always feel like you have to have something major.
Right.
It could be your tap water. It could, well, actually right now, I just was thinking about the thing in Texas.
Right.
So right now, Texas is having
frozen.
So it's limitless what you could be thankful for.
Yeah, for sure.
And, I think we should mention, too, that also cultivating a habit of being thankful for things that you're not really thankful for in the moment. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but to be thankful for, like, when you're in the trenches. There's something about that, too, if you look for the positive things that might come out of it. That's another good thing to kind of rein in.
Yeah. Really. When I was in college, I remember being stressed out to the max. And one of my mentors who met with me regularly through the Navigator Ministry, he was like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." Everything. And then for whatever reason, I said, "But at least no one came to the door and threw a bucket of acid on me." Isn't that the weirdest thing to
Wow.
That is how my brain works. And she laughed, and I said, "No, really. Nobody came to the door and threw a bucket of acid on me. Isn't that great? Because all these other problems pale in comparison if that was my problem."
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it helped me to just cope with the trenches that I was in, the foxhole that I was in at the moment. And of course, I was in my 20s and young and dumb, and I didn't really know what real stress was.
Well,
it was stress for me, though.
Yeah, for sure.
It was.
That's real stress.
It was stress, but it got worse.
But you didn't know that.
That's right. Don't worry about it, everybody. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this has been fantastic. Is there anything else that you want to leave our listeners with?
Not that I can think of.
Pretty much covered it.
Yeah. Just hang in there and keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, as promised, we want to leave you with some spiritual encouragement, as we do every single episode of the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. And there cannot be a better verse for gratitude than 1 Thessalonians Chapter 5, and it's verses 16 through 18. And it says this: "Rejoice always." Rejoice when?
Always.
Always. "Pray continually." Pray when?
Continually.
Yes. And then verse 18, "And give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." Friends, it is not just a cliche saying. It is not just on a greeting card or something like that. It is real. This is God's will for us, is for us to be grateful in every circumstance.
Right.
So let's do it. All right. Thank you so much for everything, for joining us, for listening. We love you.
We're grateful for you.
We are. And we're trying to figure out who's listening and how we're doing. Because when we're recording these, it's just me and you in a closet.
Yeah.
We're literally inside my closet. I can see my clothes. I see my husband's clothes.
Your organized bins. Hey, I have to tell you.
What?
So when I was doing the research, trying to find selective, grateful lists that you wrote a long time ago, I found one that is way back then that says, "My closet could be a great recording studio."
I did?
Yes, you did.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah. Isn't that neat?
Yeah, that is neat. Yeah, so thank you, everybody, and please connect with us. We want to hear from you. We would like to know what you think of the podcast. We would like to know topics that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Because we've brainstormed topics through the end of 2021, but we would love to include topics that you're interested in if you have them. So please communicate with us about that.
Yeah, and they can be changed. We're flexible.
Oh,
We've got it written down, but if we see a better one.
Right. We'll just move it to the end.
That's right.
And also, we love when we get new subscribers. When you subscribe to our podcast, that means you'll get a notification every time a new episode drops.
Yeah.
That's the hip term.
We're super cool.
We are. And we drop episodes every Wednesday at noon. That's our recording schedule. We're hopeful that we can keep up with that because life does happen. And so far, we've been doing pretty well. But pandemic does help. There's nothing else to do.
Right.
But if you give us a little like or whatever you have to hit, either a follow or a subscribe, then you'll get notified when new episodes appear. And that helps us too to become found by other people that aren't in our circle, something like that.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it, but it's a benefit to us.
Yes.
And it's free to you.
Yes, so help us out that way. We're just asking.
Yeah.
Because we have a goal to get 1,000 subscribers/followers within 2 weeks.
Right.
We're trying to do that. I know. We might have to extend the deadline. All right. Well, our next topic for our next episode is resisting fast foods.
Yay.
Oh, yeah, right. And how to do that. So that'll be exciting. Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. And I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Cathrine.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.